Welcome to the April 28th, 2022 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. There is a verse in the Old Testament that absolutely scares me to death for myself. It's probably not a verse that you would think should terrify me, but it absolutely does. Let me read it to you. We find it in 2 Samuel, chapter 11, verse 1. In the spring, at the time when kings go off to war, David sent Joab out with the king's men and the whole Israelite army. They destroyed the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah, but David remained in Jerusalem. Or as the King James Version says, but David tarried still in Jerusalem. Why is that such a chilling warning to me? David was in Jerusalem when he shouldn't have been. It was a dereliction of duty. Now, you might say, well, okay, nobody's perfect. Because of the dereliction of his duty regarding his work, his kingship, he made himself able to be tempted. He was on the roof, a roof he never should have been on at that time, on the palace roof, when he looked out and he saw Bathsheba. If you had asked David an hour before him sighting Bathsheba on his roof, and you told him, David, you're about to commit murder and adultery, and because of what you're about to do, your name will be forever blackened. You will grieve the Lord whom you love and about whom he has called a man after his own heart. Because of your sin, there will be repercussions, and an innocent child will know no more than a day or two of life in this world. All because of what you're about to do. If you had told him that, he would have looked at you like you were insane. After all, he was God's anointed king. He was the David who had been so faithful for all these years, who had done what God had asked him to do, who had shown great courage in very difficult circumstances with Goliath, and when he was unjustly accused and persecuted by Saul. He would have looked at you and said, I would never do those kind of terrible things. Do you know who I am? And he would have been very sincere. He would never have been able to believe that these things could have been possible for him. Now, if you had asked him, David, how come you're not with your army? He probably would have justified it in some way. After all, he would say, well, they don't need me. Did you hear the latest news from Rabbah? A huge victory for us. And Joab is such a faithful and competent general. He doesn't really need me there. Or, as the King James implies, oh, I mean to go. I'm just taking a little break. I'll get there eventually. Although how he was going to get there, I'm not quite sure, because the verse tells us that all of the Israelite army had already left, so maybe he wasn't actually going to go at all. But he certainly would have not thought that was a terrible sin. He might have said, well, yes, I probably ought to go. I should go pretty soon. You know me, I'm just a procrastinator. No big deal. My intent is to go. My intent is to do my duty. And by the way, have you seen how much I have accomplished? Surely I deserve a break today. This chills me to the bone, because this could be any of us well-intentioned, people who love the Lord, who know that the Lord is real, who want to please the Lord, and yet a small dereliction in our duty, justified, excused, explained away, can be the chink in the armor that the devil needs When you are in the wrong place at the wrong time, bad things can happen. You can go down rabbit holes you never would have gone down. You never expected to go down. And one thing leads to another. It is an absolute true statement. The old adage, people think it's in the Bible, it's not, that idle hands are the devil's workshop. But it might as well be, because there is example after example in the Bible of the truth of that proverb. When you are bored, lazy, procrastinating, making excuses for yourself, you are in dangerous waters, my friend. Oh, it seems such a small and trivial thing. But it is setting you up for being in a very dangerous territory. And because it does not seem so bad, it is a temptation for even those of us that are extremely devout and extremely experienced in the Lord. It's chilling. It's frightening. It should be a warning. Stay on your guard at all times. And don't overlook the small things, because the small things can be the entry, the gateway into something you never, ever wanted to be involved in. A warning for us all from the life of King David, who even after he fell, still remained a man after God's own heart. But let us not grieve the Lord in this way. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of the